Hello, fellow humans, and welcome to another episode of Computer Science for Humans Reacts. Today, we are going to be reacting to a video called 9 Programming Lessons I Wish I Knew Earlier. This is by a channel called The Coding Sloth. I love that. Just realized that. And I will have the video linked in the description below so you can watch the full thing. I'm not going to be showing the full video here. I'm just going to be showing some clips and reacting to those, kind of telling you my thoughts on his thoughts about lessons he wishes he knew, and hopefully give you some extra value in that way. My camera does not like me today. Hopefully I stay unpixelated for a while. Yeah, don't forget to press the YouTube buttons down below. It really helps the channel, and it helps you see more stuff like this if you like it. And if you don't like it, thumbs down. That's good feedback for me. Also, if you enjoy his video, you should go like that and stuff as well. Without further ado, let's jump in and see what we can learn from 9 programming lessons that the Coding Sloth wishes he knew earlier. I love that name, and the art he has too, so good.
Lesson number 1, there's more to life than big tech. Landing a job at one of those companies is definitely something to celebrate.
Wait, I want to look at those stats. Apple accepts 3% of applicants. That's actually, honestly, that's huge. Think about how many applicants they get. That's 3 out of every 100 or 30 out of every 1,000. It's not a huge number, but like, that's a lot for such a big company. 5% from Facebook? What? Okay, so just putting this into perspective, that means if you are applying for Facebook, and statistics are all that matter, they're not. There's a lot that goes into it, but let's just assume that you just are rolling a die. If you roll a D20, you get into Facebook on a natural 20. That's crazy. Less than 2%, less than 2% in 2019. I don't know if that was a big hiring year or not. Google is 0.67%. See, I would expect that to be more normal for big tech companies. This is crazy to me.
I'm gonna let my friend Lemmy explain why you shouldn't do this in the simplest way possible.
It's statistically easier to get accepted into Harvard than it is to work for Google.
We actually get 2.5 million job applications globally.
Okay, hold on. 2.5 million. We're gonna do some math. That's 16,750. If that other statistic was right. That's crazy. That's a lot. Think about hiring 16,000 people.
You think Google wants you? Obviously, Google's not going to want your college dropout, no work history.
That's great. And there's a lot of truth to that. But like, it's still a big number. Are you likely to get it? No. But depending on how you look at the numbers, I mean, if you want it, go for it. I don't think it would be a good job personally. I think working at big tech is vastly overrated, but that's a whole other discussion.
Perks, especially in terms of pay, the food, and benefits,
All of which are not as valuable if you take into account how much it costs to live nearby, unfortunately. The pay looks great on paper, and then when you realize the percentage compared to where they're living and how much they work and things like that, it's not as good of a deal as it seems.
but if you're learning programming because you love it, you love the art of creation, the thrill of solving problems, then big tech might not be for you.
Truth.
Some companies have been known for the terrible work-life balance, where it's not uncommon that an employee will quit within the year. However, smaller companies and startups offer a playground of opportunities. You're not just a cog in the machine, you'll often find yourself in different roles, from planning, designing, and implementation, and you'll go through all the steps in the development process.
There's a lot of truth to all this, a lot of truth. I will say the thing about startups is you are the entire development team almost. It can be a lot. A lot of time in startups, you end up doing a lot of work that you really just don't want to do. And in big companies, a lot of the time, you end up doing what feels like kind of meaningless or mundane work repeatedly. My personal take on this, and I don't know where he's going with this, but my personal take on this one, I'll wait until he's done.
Work might also be more engaging, fulfilling, and come on, it's probably going to be more fun.
Depends on how you define fun.
I want you to take a moment to reflect on why you even got into programming in the first place. If it's about growth and hands-on experience, smaller companies might be more suited for you. If you want to relax and just work your 9 to 5, you might want to check out non-tech companies like banks, government jobs, and healthcare.
I agree with that, actually. Although I will say, if you're just wanting to relax and get paid, the thing you need to remember is if that's all you're doing, you are completely replaceable because you're not adding any particular value to the company. There are hundreds of thousands of people who want to just relax and get paid and not think about their paycheck. So if that's all you're doing, you are making yourself replaceable. Just keep that in mind.
And if you're in it for the big bucks, then fair enough. I guess this tip doesn't really apply to you. So go for it.
You just have to take into account cost of living.
Lesson number 2, fundamentals are your best friend.
Hold on.
With tire
These
structure.
memes. Wow. That is definitely something I've never seen before. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Whether you're crafting an intricate front-end design, architecting a robust back-end, or playing around with machine learning, the fundamentals are what's going to guide you.
Architecting a back end, crafting a front end, or playing with AI. I think it's funny.
So before you chase the latest trends of libraries and frameworks, I want you to take a step back and invest some time in understanding the basics.
100% agree with that, by the way. Understanding the fundamental principles that underlie all of programming is way more important than any particular framework or language.
Importance of real-world experience. It was like fitting pieces into a half-finished jigsaw puzzle.
Does it bother anyone that that kid is not putting the puzzle piece in correctly? That's not the right piece. That's not the right piece.
Once you step into the professional world of programming, there's no professor giving you a structured assignment or any predefined correct answers. You're often going to be presented with a vague problem and you're expected to find a solution. So instead of a pre-made jigsaw, it's kind of like a bunch of puzzle pieces from different sets, and it's your job to figure out a way to make them fit together.
Yes, 100%. And this is one of my biggest complaints with college. What college does is it teaches you about programming, and it gives you some practice problems that have nothing to do with real life, and you get the skills you build in college are very different from the skills you need in a real life workplace. What college does well is it introduces you to the concepts that are in programming. What it does not do well is prepare you for the workplace, for the absolute chaos that is the corporate workplace. I tell everybody this. I don't know how the internet actually keeps running. With the chaos of organization that is in pretty much every big corporation, I don't know how some of the websites even manage to stay online. It's amazing to me. Real life programming is chaos. So 100%, college really is nothing like actually working on the job. And I personally think a year of professionally programming for payment for somebody else is worth more than a college degree. And I think most companies would agree with me on that. College is very, very, very overrated for programming. You don't need it. If it's a good environment for you, I say this all the time, but if it's a good environment for you, if college is like your thing, then go for it. If you are not someone who excels in a specifically academic environment, rest assured, you can be a great programmer with no academic anything, because the academic environment is not like a work environment at all.
Real world experience is going to be your best teacher. You'll encounter unexpected bugs and clients who are going to pivot their requirements overnight.
As a side note, those clients are sometimes your boss. And that's something really important to remember. If you work in corporate, you still are a freelancer. You just only work for one client, and that's your boss. That probably deserves a full video, honestly. Just saw this meme on the screen. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But yeah, the project requirements change a lot. They're also rarely defined very well, or the definition doesn't actually make much sense, or it goes into a lot of detail on the stuff that is fluff and not actually coding details. It's the Wild West, man. It's the Wild West. My spacebar won't press play.
And it's the unpredictability that builds resilience and genuine problem-solving skills.
That's interesting. I never thought about that. I think there's definitely some truth to that. Learning to navigate an unpredictable environment does build resilience. Yeah, that's a really good point. Very good point.
And they're wondering how to bridge the gap between college assignments and the real world? Here's my advice. Start small. Dive into open source projects.
Open source projects are not small, man. It's a great idea to dive into those. They are not small. It can be very, very confusing to dive into something like MongoDB. Is that actually open source? I'll have to look that up later. But something that's open source, if you dive into that, you have to learn their way of programming. It's just like getting involved in a corporate environment, just probably a lot less stressful. But it's hard. It is not easy to just dive into an open source project. There's a lot involved.
Lesson number 4, network as much as you can. Think of the tech industry like a graph. Every node represents a person and every connection a relationship. These relationships aren't just about job referrals or project collaborations. They're also a collection of shared knowledge, experience, and insights.
This is absolutely true. I tell all my students the number one skill you need to have is people. Way more important than programming. Programming will not get you anywhere. All it does is, if you are good at programming, all that does for you is prevents people from slamming the door on your face because you're not good. Let me elaborate a little more. The way you get jobs and the way you keep jobs and the way you get promotions and pay raises and all that stuff, none of it has anything to do with your programming skill. The only way to open a new door in your career is through people. People skills will get you all over the place. The only two things your skills as a programmer matter for are, first, making sure that you are good enough to actually keep what you are given by your people skills, and 2, your own sanity when working in this field. It's good to have good programming skills because you can take care of yourself with good, clean code. Clean is a keyword. I need not use it. With good code that's easy to maintain, easy to use, all that stuff. But beyond that, for your career advancement, the only skill that matters is your people skills. I'm going to tell you guys a story. This is a real life story. I had a client a while back who he had never coded a day in his life, literally never even touched code. He had done something kind of code adjacent. I think it was similar to Scratch. It wasn't Scratch, but it was something kind of similar where it's drag and drop, and it was very simple. Whatever it was very simple. I had never even heard of it. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, he had never written a line of code in his life, and he was applying for a job that required C#. And it was working on an AI chatbot for a big company. Literally, I'm serious when I say he had never written a line of code. But here's the thing, he had already been hired as the only member of a team building an AI chatbot in a legacy, C# system. So there was an existing application. They had fired the entire team, and they were hiring him to manage this AI chatbot and to write it. There was no one to tell him how it worked. Nothing like that. He was all by himself. He had never written a single line of code in his entire life, and he got hired. This guy, one of the smoothest people I've ever met, wonderful person to be around, really fun to interact with. His people skills got him in the door where he had literally no technical skills. It was all people skills. I still wish I could see his interview. I would love to have seen that. The thing is, if he had not gone out of his way to increase his technical skills, they would have become a barrier. His lack of technical skills in this area would have become a barrier to his progression in his career. So your technical skills can become a barrier if they're too low, or if you don't have a particular set of skills that you need, but they are not going to open doors. No one's going to see you write a line of code and be like, man, you should be promoted. No one is going to do that. What they will say is, man, you're super nice. You work really hard. You're always here on time. Let's get you a raise. Or you just earned the company an extra $2.5 million yearly with this solution to this problem you made. Let's see what we can do for you. That's a real example, by the way. So a real example that I've actually seen happen multiple times. All that to say, your technical skills, your programming skills do not matter except when they become a barrier to your progression in your career. They are not going to open any doors. They are only going to close doors if they are insufficient. People skills are what open the door. I think I've talked for a long time on this. So yeah, but all that to say, 100% networking, super important. Learn how to handle people. I'm going to have a couple links down below to podcasts about how to be personable, because I think a lot of people in our field really struggle with that. Do with it what you will. But yeah, it's people skills are the most important thing you could possibly learn. And that goes for any career. Like, it literally doesn't matter what you're doing. No one wants to work with someone who's a jerk, and people are willing to put up with a lot of garbage from someone who's really, really enjoyable to be around.
Don't be weird. It's pretty simple. Just be a normal human being and just talk to them like a friend. Join some hackathons, build some fun projects, make some friends, engage, combine that with a strong network, and you'll turn into an unstoppable force that can get hired anywhere. You have to remember, opportunities don't just come from what you know, but also from who you know.
100% agree. 100%. The only thing I'd say is I'd switch the order. Be good at people before you're good at technical stuff. That's the only alteration I'd make.
Lesson number 5. Imposter syndrome will happen to most of you. During college, I was surrounded by classmates who seemed like they had everything figured out. They talked about technical topics, they seemed confident in their coding abilities, and they asked questions that I didn't even know what they were talking about. And they always appeared to be miles ahead of me. It felt really easy to feel overshadowed, underqualified, and I always wondered if I missed some class that just turned you into a programming prodigy.
Me too. I had the exact same experience. I always felt like I was missing something other people were. And let me tell you, this is why I talk sometimes about how there's like two different kinds of programmers. There's the regular person programmers, and then there's like elite programmers. The elite programmers are the ones that, in my opinion, have a level of skill and understanding of programming that is high enough that they don't need to have imposter syndrome, because they are very confident in their skills. They know what they can do. They've seen it 100, 200, 300 times, 1,000 times. And so they know they can do something. They know they have knowledge. For everyone else, those are what I call elite programmers. Everyone else is what I call a normal person programmer. Now, you may or may not have imposter syndrome as a regular person programmer. There's definitely a knowledge gap that is very real between certain people and other people, between regular person programmers and elite programmers. That doesn't make you bad at programming, because usually what it means is the elite, what I'm calling the elite programmer, they usually just have a lot more experience with the thing they're talking about, or they are more comfortable in their current situation. The thing that I want you to understand about imposter syndrome is that you can get past it. The reason you're feeling it, if you are, is because you don't have enough repetitions doing something. Once you've done something enough times, you feel confident about it. So if you ever feel like you're an imposter on a specific topic, there's a simple thing you can do to make that go away. Isolate the thing that is making you feel like an imposter, like you're less than everyone else. If there's a specific topic that you feel like, I'm an idiot in this topic, no, everyone else knows more than I do, find a problem that is in that topic, like a practice problem, and do that problem, and then erase your result and do it again. Do that 20 or 30 times, and you're not going to have imposter syndrome anymore because you actually understand what it is and how it's going. Repetition is how your brain learns. And if you don't give it the repetitions, then you're not actually going to have the understanding that gives you the confidence to talk confidently. One other thing I want to mention about imposter syndrome, a lot of the people who seem really confident are actually using fancy terminology to make themselves sound smart because they are ashamed of where they are, or they just have other emotional issues they're dealing with, and they just want other people, their defense mechanism is making other people think they're really smart. I've had to work with one or two of these people before, and they can be a pain. A lot of the people you think are really, really, really smart don't feel like they're particularly smart. They think they're normal. And other ones are just trying to sound smart so that they can feel dominant because they have emotional stuff they're going through. Don't let jargon throw you off. A lot of people use it just to sound smart. That was kind of a rambly comment, but it's something I really feel a lot about. So I've seen a lot of people go through this, and I've gone through it personally too. So imposter syndrome, find something that you are uncomfortable with your knowledge of and repeat it a gajillion times until you're no longer uncomfortable with it. It really is that simple.
And trust me, even the most accomplished, smart programmers have felt this way at least once.
One thing I will say, not every programmer has felt that. A lot of people, there are people that just don't feel imposter syndrome. Oh, it's not entirely true that everyone does. It is very common in millennials and Gen Z, and I think before that as well, but not everybody feels imposter syndrome. And like I said, it is a solvable problem. So hopefully that's a hopeful thing. I find that encouraging.
Lesson number 6, learn how to collaborate and work as a team. Collaboration is as important as any programming language or framework.
I mean, it's an extension of your networking skills, 100% agree. I would throw this in with the networking thing and just lump them both under people skills, but this is a perfectly fine separation. Also, another thing, collaboration is a very corporate word, and it's totally fine that he's using it. I think a better way to think about it is teamwork. I think it's a really important point. You have to be good at teamwork to do anything unless you're all by yourself. And people who are not good at teamwork either become bullies and force other people to work in their way, which nobody likes those people, or they don't go anywhere because no one will work with them.
And there's certain tools that you have to master as well, like version control, which ensures smooth collaboration.
Version control does not in any way ensure smooth collaboration. I see where he's getting at. It is required for collaboration in code. If you want several programmers to work together, you're going to need some kind of version control. It does not ensure teamwork in any way, shape, or form. Not even close. It is necessary for teamwork, but does not guarantee it.
It was the soft skills, the ability to listen, to communicate effectively, and to work as one cohesive unit.
Soft skills is just another corporate term for people skills. Being a personable human who listens to others and actually, cares on some level goes a long way.
Specialization versus generalization. Where do I start? Here's my advice. Start by being a generalist. In the beginning, learn some programming fundamentals, then explore some areas of programming. Learn some front end, some back end, maybe some mobile development, and get into game development if you love video games. Once you find that niche, the area of programming that you love, start specializing. Dive deep. Become an expert, because the reality is, while generalists can adapt and bring a broad perspective, it's the specialists who become invaluable in their domain.
I think if you're teaching yourself, I would recommend starting out with a topic that's interesting to you and specializing in that. Learn one thing until you get to a point where either you love it, or you hate it, or it's just not interesting anymore, and then go to another thing. It's okay to jump topics a lot in programming, because a lot of time as a programmer, you're going to encounter a variety of different topics, because the difference between back-end and front-end development only matters in the job interview. Once you're in the job, they don't care. They'll send you whatever programming stuff they want you to do. So don't worry too much about specialization. Specialization comes with time. If you find a topic you absolutely love, then feel free to specialize in it. But specialization will not give you job security. It won't. What gives you job security is a mixture of people skills and going above and beyond and making yourself not just another cog in the machine. And that is a whole other set of skills that I don't really have time to go into, but it boils down to solving problems for other people, not just punching in your time card, sitting at your desk for 8 hours. So being a specialist does not guarantee you a job by any stretch of the imagination, not even close. And what's more, the longer you work in a field, the field of programming rather, the longer you are a programmer, the more you'll just kind of naturally become a specialist because there's certain things you'll do more than other things. So don't worry about becoming a specialist unless you want to do that in order to get a specific kind of job or you really like a type of work or something like that. But yeah, I would say just start with something you're interested in and follow that as far as you are interested in following it, and then switch if you need to. But a lot of the time you'll learn a variety of things on the job anyway. The pre-job learning doesn't really matter except as far as it matters for getting into a job. Once you're in a job, that job will kind of shove you in a direction and you can decide to either go with it or expand from it or change directions. So
Depth of knowledge and expertise makes them irreplaceable. Well, until AI steals their knowledge.
AI is only going to replace programmers who are extremely replaceable. It's not a person, and it still requires some skill to use it. It can't just automatically write code. It's getting better, but you can get better too.
Let curiosity guide you, and once you find your passion, go deep and commit to it.
You don't have to have a passion in order to go deep. There's a lot of programmers who are not passionate about their work and do quite well. So
just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey, not the destination. As long as you commit to lifelong learning, you'll become a master of adaptability, resilience, and evolution. And in the world of tech, these are the traits that truly define a master.
I think what he's talking about applies to every field. If you want to become a master, you have to be a student always. That's what makes you a master, is you're always learning. If you stop learning, that's when you stop being good at what you're doing. Yeah, this is very true and applicable to pretty much every skill in life.
It wasn't just about writing code and just the satisfaction of seeing my creation come to life.
That satisfaction is one of the main things that draws everybody to programming. And it truly is amazing to be able to type into a computer and see that thing actually happen. I think that's why a lot of people start out with web development, because you can see it very quickly. What I think would be even better is if you do this, do a to-do project. And like I was saying earlier, do the repetitions on it. So build a to-do project. The first time it's going to be really tough. You don't really know what you're doing. You're figuring stuff out, but you get it done. It's working. It's satisfying. Awesome. Now delete it and do it again from scratch. It's still going to be a little confusing. It's going to be hard to remember exactly what you did. Some things you'll do a little bit differently. There'll be occasionally some things that it's like, okay, you know what? I did this way last time. I think I could do it this way instead this time. And then you'll finish it. It was still tough, but you did it. And it's like, okay, cool. I did it again. Delete it and start over. Do it again. Once you have done that 10 times, you are going to actually have a surprisingly deep understanding of all the components involved, to the point where you can probably do it in maybe 30 or 40 minutes, depending on how complex the app is. And once you get to the point where you can pretty much write it without thinking, you'll find that there are a lot of other things that are very similar to that to-do app that are way easier now. If you want to be amazing at a topic, find a little project like this, do it over and over and over and over and over again, starting from scratch every single time. I'm telling you, that will enhance your programming skills on an amazing level.
Whether it's a personal website, a mobile app, or a game, and with each project, you'll not only reinforce your knowledge, but also gain practical insights that pure theory often misses.
That is so true. And that's the biggest problem with college, is it's mostly just theory and they never have you repeat anything. Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic advice. Again, the only thing I would add on this one is just repeat the project several times, starting from scratch every single time. And you'll be amazed at how much more you understand and learn with that.
Projects serve as evidence of your skills. They're your portfolio, showcasing your abilities to potential employers, collaborators, and the world.
That's true.
Projects are a testament to your journey, each one a milestone marking your growth, your challenges, and your triumphs.
This is another thing, and I think it's the end of the video, so I'll stop here, but he's right that each project is a milestone and a triumph for you, especially if you struggle with imposter syndrome. Another really amazing thing that you can do to fight imposter syndrome is to build a list of proof that you are actually good, and having projects that you can look at when you're feeling really down and like, oh man, I'm just so bad at this. Everyone else is so much smarter than me. And then you can go to GitHub or just a folder on your computer and just be like, well, I made this and 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 I made this. That is physical proof that your feelings of inadequacy are false. And that goes a long way toward not feeling inadequate. But yeah, this has been good. This is a fantastic video. You should watch the whole thing. It's very good advice. I suspect, when was this? Okay. This was about a year ago. I suspect the coding sloth is relatively young. And I think there's probably some nuance that's going to be added to a lot of these over the years as it gains more experience. But it's very good advice. And you should watch the video. Like and subscribe to his channel if you liked it. And and mine if you liked this. I hope you got some value out of it. I'm definitely trying to give you that. And let me know in the comments what you think. If you agree or disagree or want to add to anything I've said, definitely let me know. I read as many of the comments as I can get to. Also, if you want to support the channel and you like fantasy stories or you play D&D or Pathfinder, I have some books that I wrote. Some are fantasy short stories, others are Pathfinder and D&D splat books that I make as part of my campaign that I run. And I'll have those linked in the description below if you want to check those out. No pressure, but if it's something you'd like and you want to support the channel, this is a really cool way to do that. Regardless, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, I'll see you later. It'll be funny if I didn't actually get out of frame.